Well, I got Keith on the line if you want me to just let you go if you can't talk on the show.
Wait, he's early?
He is early. Would you like to...
Wow, look at that. People went to Pitt usually are not early.
Would you like to go to him?
Yeah,
I can't find the mouse in the studio to put him up live, so the board op does it. Keith, we haven't been in studio in like a year and a half, and I can't find anything. I'm struggling here. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
You doing well? Tell me your excitement level now that the Sixers closed out the Wizards. I can hear it in your voice.
Nah. I was listening in on the Zoom call too, so that's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Nah. Yeah,
you were watching. You were watching the substance abuse discussion.
Nah. Nah. So what's up with fellas? I just know that he said Pitt guys come early, and we always come early, and we finish last. You know, we do a thorough
No,
job.
I kind of said the other way, but if you want to go there, I guess so.
I didn't realize what I was walking to on today's show. Keith, the Sixers...
No, listen, Michigan guys, they show up early, rah, and then they get ejected.
Don't worry, Keith. Our board op today, Matt, decided that he would put up a Michigan Sox sign but against the glass.
Wait a second, Keith,
Jeff
did you arrange for
it.
that? Because we literally walked into the studio and there was a big sign on the window that said Michigan sucks.
It was a greeting for Jeff. Yeah. Welcome back. Keith, tell me what we saw this week. Panic level was high after the Embiid injury. Sixers end up closing it out at home. Where are we now with this team as they advance to the second round?
You know, in regards to, I guess the panic level has sort of subsided. You know, you look at it and you see Joel Embiid, and people want to know if Joel's going to come back. You know, Ben Simmons had a better game, so the people who were ready to trade Ben Simmons or cut him or whatever, you know, they're all now saying what a great player he is. So, you know, it's one of those things now that everyone's already talking about. Let's go on and let's play Brooklyn. You know, for the most part, but I kind of think that, you know, they're going to be in for a little tough battle with the Hawks.
So, Keith, we talked last week about how the players are rallying around Ben Simmons. In my mind, over the last week, they've gone a little too overboard on this. What is going on, and what have you heard about Doc Rivers' comments about he's okay with the hack of Ben because they're getting 1 point per possession?
You know, here's the thing. Like, when it comes down to that, it's you know, I look at it as there's a coach. He knows that his player needs to work on certain things. He knows that the media is going to come down on him. He knows that the fan base is coming down on him. And I took it as if, you know, he was just protecting his player. Now, again, people are going to say analytically that's horrible, right? But I feel like he was just talking, trying to take up for his player by any means. And if you know, it was one of those things where he had a bad game, talking about Ben Simmons, and it was also like we've been talking about this since October the 2nd, the day that Doc Rivers was introduced as the coach of the Sixers. So I think that there might have been, you know, it's a loss. There's some frustration level, questions, and I'm going to do anything I can to let my player know that I have his back.
You're right.
I think that's what it was.
We have been talking about this. You've been on this show talking about this since the season started, and also the concern about what happens if Dwight Howard and Ben have to be on the court at the same time at the end of the game. And I totally agree with you that the coach is doing the right thing, although the way he said it, I think, opened himself up to more criticism. The real question is, what are they going to do? Not what Doc Rivers is going to say after a game, but is Doc going to double down and keep Ben on? It's a close game.
He has to. I mean, he absolutely has to. Unless, like, if you're in game, if you're like about to be eliminated, and they're doing that hacker stuff, then you're looking at it like, well, maybe I'm gonna have to do something else. I mean, you know, I think that right now is you have to help this guy with his confidence. You have to tell him, like, yo, it's up to you to get in the gym, do what you have to do, and you have to correct it because it's going to happen. And I can't keep taking up for you and speaking in your behalf, but you have to continue to do what you're doing to get better. You got to work hard. You got to get better. But my thing is, when you look at it, Doc Rivers has been so invested in this guy that if he does take him out, and it will look as if that everyone would know he was just saying what he had to say. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he has to stick with him. But again, if it's elimination game, and I'm talking about them about to be eliminated, and that team goes to the Hack of Ben, or if the championship is on the line, I think that's one of those things, well, all things are out the window at that point, and you just have a long conversation with them, while you guys are drinking your celebratory champagne.
So tell me, where does the team stand now? I mean, there were different storylines. There was the Ben foul shooting storyline. There was the Embiid injury storyline. There was also Tobias sort of taking over in some of these games, playing really well. There was the emergence of Maxey and the play of Thibault at times. What's the biggest takeaway from this first series that you think propels them towards the second series before we talk about what Embiid is or isn't?
I think you can't. It is Embiid. It has to be. You know what I mean? It has to be. The big storyline is, who are the Sixers with him? Who are them without him? Because when he was healthy, Scott Brooks was talking about he reminds me of Olajuwon. And then Doc Rivers doubles down and says yes, he's doing things like Olajuwon. But he also reminds me of Patrick Ewing, and Kevin McHale with his footwork. So, the storyline, that is Embiid. Yes, this team is a dominant team with him. They're on all cylinders. And then when we saw Game 4 and you saw how everything fell apart, they just looked discombobulated. And you see that and you're like, whoa. Now, again, they were able to bounce back. But the storyline is, without Embiid, this team can't win a championship. You know it. They just can't win a championship. So to me, that's the number one storyline right now.
Well, so we're less than 48 hours away from Game 1 of the second round. Is Embiid going to be available and play in the second round and for Game 1? And is he going to be able to play like Embiid? I mean, he clearly has an injury there.
I think here's the deal. If I didn't go to the game, and let's put it this way: if Embiid didn't come out from pregame of Game 5 and participate in the workout, I would have said I doubt it. But what I saw that day in that pregame, I would be shocked if he doesn't play. And what I saw was a guy who was getting to his spot. I mean, it wasn't just shooting the ball. He was going through drills, he was doing lateral movement, dribbling drills. He was doing step back jumpers, hitting threes. He did it all, and he looked good. Now the thing is, this is the tricky thing that, it's easy to say, okay, he's going to play, right? But basically, he participated in practice today. He didn't do any live stuff. He did some shooting. He did a lot of other things, right? But he didn't participate in the live drills. Now, the deal is, what's his knee going to be like tomorrow? Is there going to be any swelling in the knee? You know what I mean? Or is there going to be any, and then after tomorrow, whatever he does, when he wakes up in the morning, is there going to be any swelling? The fact that he's out there doing certain things, and Doc said he did a lot. Now, again, he didn't do the live stuff. I mean, that leads me to believe that, they're very hopeful that he is going to play on Sunday, that he's going to be out there. It's just, to me, it's just a matter of what is his knee going to be like the next morning. Because when I first heard about the meniscus tear, even though they say slight, whatever it is, it's still a meniscus tear. I didn't expect to see him doing a workout for 20 minutes before the game.
Well, and so I didn't expect to see him doing the workout, but everything I've read about it, and I'm far from a medical expert. I can barely put on a Band-Aid without hurting myself again. So, it's the rest will not necessarily make it better. It's his pain tolerance, the swelling, and the potential for further injury. So who's going to make this decision about whether he plays? Is it on Embiid to decide? Is it the doctors? Is it the team? A collaboration? Whose call is this? Here's
the deal. I think that when you have a guy and they say it's day-to-day rest, the intention is for him to play. They all came to that because it's not, you would get it removed or you would get it repaired, right? And, those things take longer. Ultimately, I think that the doctor is going to make a suggestion, but a lot of times when it comes down to Embiid, ultimately the decision is his, unless it's something like, whoa, dude, your leg's about to fall off. You don't want to do that, right? But for the most part, it's typically his decision. Again, after seeing what I saw, I expect him to play, unless, like we said, there's going to be some swelling. I mean, after seeing what I saw, I expect him to play. And if he doesn't play, I would assume, maybe they decided against it because it could have been some swellness, it could have been some soreness or whatever. But after what I saw, I expect him to play.
For a long time, I've thought that you should be on the other side of that desk as the coach or a scout. And so my next question to you is a scouting question. You always seem to know the right matchup. Who of the non-stars is going to be the most important player in this round versus this team, the Hawks?
Now, when we talk about non-stars, are we talking about like Matisse and all those guys? That's what you're talking about?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to say it's going to be Matisse Thybulle because, Matisse Thybulle is a good defender, actually a great defender. But his defense is really unorthodox. Like Matisse is the type of guy who likes trailing people. He'll trail a guy, and then all of a sudden he'll block their shot. Well, Trae Young, like Joel Embiid, has a patented move where he swings his arms down, right? And then guys are complaining about that. Well, what Trae Young does is he blows by people, and then he stops, and they run right into the back of him, and that's how he gets to the foul line. Well, trailing people is Matisse's strength. That's what he does a lot. So to me, if he's covering Trae, which I expect him to do at certain times through the game, course of the game, he has to be 100% careful. And then not only Trae, they got this guy Bogdan Bogdanovic, who is a sniper. And, he didn't play in any of the 3 games against the Sixers this season, but he's a heck of a shooter. And so, you're going to need Matisse out there to basically guard one of them while Ben or someone else is guarding the other. So to me, Matisse has an extremely vital role in this game because of the defensive end. They're going to need his length. They're going to need his shot blocking ability. But at the same time, he can't run up on the back of Trae Young because he's going to basically foul out doing that.
All right. How many games? Who wins the series? How many games?
I believe it's going to be the Sixers winning in 6. I do. I think it's going to be 6. They could sweep them. They could do whatever. But, again, we're talking about Joel, right? Like, although I said I think that he'll play, they're going to play on Sunday, then they're going to play on Tuesday. That's a quick turnaround, right? I would have been a little bit more, a little bit more optimistic if it was like, Monday and Wednesday, but it's Monday, Tuesday. I think that Atlanta is better than what people are giving them credit for, and I see the Sixers pulling it out in 6.
All right, I got my last question. What do you expect to see out of the Nets-Bucks series? And I've seen you say, you're not sure how the Sixers fare against the Nets. I've told Jeff I'm more concerned about the Bucks as a matchup. What do you think about those two?
Say it again. The Bucks in the matchup. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, you know what? That's going to be straight Game 7. But I keep going back and forth on that one, right? And I keep saying, it's going to be Milwaukee. Then I'm saying, it's going to be Brooklyn. I think it's Brooklyn. I know Milwaukee has guards who can guard the big 3. I know that Milwaukee has, Bobby Portis, who I think is the baddest player in the league in regards to nobody will mess with, right? They got PJ and all that. They got a lot of people. But I think that when you have guys like Kevin Durant, who was not only won multiple NBA titles, he was, the Finals MVP. You have a guy like Kyrie, where LeBron gets the credit, but Kyrie is the guy that hit the game-winning shot for Cleveland when they won it. So I look at these two guys. They have that championship pedigree. And then the guy that I always talk about that no one, talks about is Joe Harris. When you have these guys and you have these defensive guys and you're guarding the big three, then typically Joe Harris is going to get wide open looks. And then when you try to close out on him, then he's going to dump it down to one of the guys in the big three. And so I just think that they have too much firepower, and their defense has improved in the playoffs. So I just think it's going to go 7 games, but at the end, Durant's going to hit a game-winning bucket, and they're going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
All right, so can we expect lots of content from you in the Inquirer, on Pompey on Sixers, and on your Twitter account over the next week, 2 weeks, maybe even longer?
Nah, bruh. I'm slacking this week.
You never slack.
Yeah, that we're not worried about. Keith, always appreciate you giving us a few minutes. Can't wait to see what you got coming as the series starts. Thanks for the time.
All right. Thanks for having me, my man.